to disappear for about 2 or 3 weeks.
It's, you had some handwritten notes on one, and those are the warrants that, for tonight, right there in the chair. Yeah, I got a call from Zamba the other day, or not Zamba, not Strength, Nimic. His little icon or figure that he has for his picture on this thing is a little green alien. And I thought, okay.
Picture on.
You know, when you can put a picture next to a name in your contact list.
Oh, okay.
And his, for some reason, it comes, now I don't know if that's because my phone did it or he did it, but it shows up as a little green alien.
Like an Android alien or something?
You know, just a, you know, that green, funny shaped head.
Hey, can one of you guys look at,
There's Joe.
do you have YouTube up?
I just looked at it and I could see Steve and myself and the village shot.
And you see, okay. It's lagging a little, right?
I've already warned John that I'm gonna have to probably get up and walk a little bit during that. So you may want to move that camera just a little bit more to pick up him and not me.
You gonna be okay calling the votes?
Yeah. I think so. Just as long as I don't have to, just as long as I don't have to look up or down too often.
Okay. Well, if I yell incoming, just duck.
If I pass out and hear a thud, you know that I'm on the table, I'm on the floor anyway.
Do you want to start recording right at 7 so you have a record of the fact that nobody showed
Hey,
up?
Linda, I got a new background.
If I yell incoming, just duck. If I pass out and hear a thud. I gotta figure out how to put the new background that I got for Zoom on my iPad. It's it's from Willie Nelson Reserve rolling papers.
Nice.
Willie's Reserve.
Yep.
Willie's Reserve.
That,
Ed, your
now
wife
he's
doesn't
no
have to do
longer
all
smoking
that.
it. He just,
Yeah.
It's a village. I see Sue straightening up the room for Ed.
what's that?
Sue's in the background straightening up the room.
Oh.
You know?
Well, they've done a good job. It doesn't look like the back of the car anymore.
No sleeping bags or socks hanging anywhere.
Look at that. It looks like Ed Arney has one of those Zoom backgrounds from Architecture Digest.
Mhm. Hey, what was that? It's probably one of those tiny homes.
Yeah.
That's like he fills up the room.
That's good. When they start rearranging your icons, you just know it's time to go home. Oops, that's not what I
Can you guys see that all right?
You hear me? Yep, I can hear you, Ed. Oh, got all of you. Okay.
The answer to that, can you hear me, is always no.
Huh?
What I do is,
Okay, check 1, 2. Can you hear me?
no.
No.
Yep.
Ask another question.
So, hang on a second.
Are we? Is the YouTube feed up yet?
Yes.
Okay, I was gonna have Linda log in upstairs just so she can see it.
It's got a short delay, but it's up.
And we've been watching a lot of Silicon Valley the last week and a half, so I'm gonna have to remember to keep my language appropriate for a public meeting. Yeah. Hey, John, how do I find the YouTube link?
Here, I'm gonna put it in the Slack channel, in the chat.
Oh, okay, I was on the, so it's not on our webpage.
It is on our webpage. That's what I'm gonna Slack.
Is it on the mobile?
If you just go to YouTube and type in Village of Sleepy Hollow IL, it pops right up.
Oh, does it? Okay.
I put a link in the chat for everyone. Slack channel in the chat. Oh, when you go to YouTube though, you want to mute YouTube. Because I don't like to hear myself twice. Neither does my wife, or my kids, or my neighbors.
No, really.
What are you talking about?
Don, were you ever to get that our old account to work, or did they not let you get access to it?
No, I looked it up.
Visitor showed up.
It died with Dave, literally. They will not reset the password on it.
Okay.
Okay, we got 7 o'clock.
We got 6:59.
6:59.
I'm gonna start recording if that's okay with everybody.
You can start recording. We are live, gentlemen. Behave yourselves accordingly. Okay, we've got 7 o'clock. We call the
6:59.
public hearing to order for the purpose of receiving comments from the public in regards to the appropriation ordinance for fiscal year 21. It is 7 o'clock, July 20th, 2020. The public body is physically present, and myself representing the village clerk is also here. Online, joining us is Trustee Perino, Trustee Diatley, Trustee Nemec, and Trustee Harney. We have not, okay, let's see, what else do we have? This meeting is in person, and let's see. An in-person meeting is not practical or prudent under the current COVID-19 disaster pandemic. And all members attending will be verified by a roll call. And we will note those that are physically present and those who are present via video. So if the clerk would call roll, please.
Mr. Perino,
Here,
Mr. Datley,
Here.
Mr. Nemec,
Here.
Mr. Zamba, Mr. Merkel, Mr. Harney.
Here.
You have a quorum.
We have a quorum via video. We have not received any notices, any comments via email or mail here at Village Hall. And as of 7:01, there is no one here in the Village Hall meeting room outside the clerk and myself. Publication of this was placed in the Daily Herald on July 9th, according to ordinances.
President Pickett,
Yes.
Trustee Perino, just for reference, I also posted this meeting and the subsequent village board meeting on the Friends of Sleepy Hollow Facebook webpage this afternoon as well.
Okay, thank you, Anthony. Let's. keeping a tradition. No public comment on the appropriation. 7:03, we've received no further comments. No one has arrived in the meeting room to voice a comment to the board concerning the appropriations. Therefore, I adjourn the public hearing and we will reconvene for our board meeting at 7:30.
So we don't have to make, no one had to make a motion to adjourn. Okay.
Can I pause this recording? It's still live on YouTube. But
Now, it's going to be a half hour of vacancy.
I'll see you a little later.
I can put a movie on.
Can you do that?
I think I can.
Netflix on here?
I do have Netflix on here. I'm currently trying to.
Put on
figure-
House of Cards.
Well, I'm trying to figure out Cloud Atlas.
Boy, I tell you, it looks like Mr. Moreno got dressed up.
I think he said I'll be right back, so.
Hey, I can still hear you.
Oh, okay.
Joe doing sets at Dundee Crown?
I was gonna say, where you at, Joe?
That is a picture I took at Hamilton the second time I saw it, so I just thought I was put a
Oh,
little
cool.
Hamilton background in there, so.
Or did you just take it from the Disney Plus channel TV?
No, that was our seats, so.
Nice.
Was night, yeah.
Okay.
That was actually interesting. I got seats and because
APC.
we'd seen it already, but we really wanted to see, and Linda especially wanted to see Wayne Brady. And so we got tickets, and the day before she had
Here for the-
I shouldn't say a huge cold, but she was coughing like every 20 minutes. She goes, that's not fair to myself or anybody else. So I called up Andrew, and Andrew's like, I'll go. And so I went, took Andrew. And then so I got tickets for 2 weeks later to take Linda. And, you know, when you get there, they have who's playing all the parts for the stand-ins. Wayne Brady
Right.
was taking the afternoon off. So,
Oh, jeez.
so Linda never got to see Wayne Brady in Hamilton. So. Yeah. I wish Dundee Crown had a set like that.
Village Hall.
That's right. Where it's happening.
I must just have a chilling effect on people.
Hey, we haven't had anyone for a public hearing on the ordinance in 20 some odd years. That one gentleman.
Didn't we have a public, didn't you have, people show up at the P and Z?
Oh, yeah, P and Zs are different public hearings.
Okay.
Those we've had, overflowing crowds at times.
That's scary.
He lined up down the hall and he's standing outside with the windows open. Is he recording this whole thing too? Is he just? I don't know. I know he walked out of the ring.
Well, I guess I'll go see if Luke wants to go outside again. So.
Okay, so just on you.
So thinking that,
I can mute the mic. Hey guys, we're gonna mute the microphone. So it'll still be on YouTube, but it will not, there won't be any sound, okay? Thanks for nodding, Steve.
I see red
Steve, what do you see? Go ahead.
I see meeting will resume at 7:30.
Yep,
Thank you, guys. Oh,
Yep.
by the way, the meeting will resume at 7:30.
Oh,
time?
thank you.
Muted.
That John's on top of it. Oh. Hey, Anthony. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, I got you.
Can you hear me? I'm just checking my microphone.
Yep,
All good.
Okay, thank you.
yep.
Supposed to be rude to make popcorn and munch on popcorn during the meeting, wouldn't it?
Not unless you share. I gotta say, are you gonna send a delivery, Joe?
Let's see, Linda wouldn't do it. You know, I could probably train Luke to do it, but I don't think he's there yet, so.
I hear my doorbell ringing. Let me run up.
Yeah. Yeah. It's okay, my son's dog has become as they call it, a popcorn snob, because they said that if they offer him popcorn, doesn't have butter and salt on it, he refuses it.
Hey, I like his style.
Yeah. Oh. So the McHenry Times is a fake news site? I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah, there's a sites masquerading as local news. Let's see what else we have here.
I have a feeling there may be several of those these days.
Oh, you see this map. It's this is the hundreds of hyper-partisan sites are masquerading as local news. That shows you if there's one near you. Let's see, where's the camera at? No, it's not going to show. The whole map is just covered with these little icons for it.
Oh, geez.
It's yeah.
Yeah, I only see Anthony and Village Hall. The other guys, your video's off. Is that what? Correct?
I'm
No,
on.
I'm
I
on.
see- yeah.
I can see Ed. Yeah. I can't see you or Joe.
Click on the arrow because you can get other little boxes to show up maybe.
Yeah, are you in speaker view or gallery view? Go to speaker view in the upper right corner if you're on a.
My lock.
Speaker view.
Right in the middle of.
Should be in the upper right corner on mine on the browse. You're on a laptop, right?
Yes.
Yeah, in the upper right corner, if you mouse up there, it says speaker view or gallery view. Go to speaker view.
No.
Right? Is that what?
Yeah, I don't have that.
You would have a little box, little square box with dots in it.
Yeah.
You click on that, it'll give you a broader view, it'll give you the grid view.
Grid view. Okay. There we go. There you go.
That was me.
Yeah.
Blame the tech guy.
It's all John's fault if he likes it or not, right?
Nothing makes the AV guys happier than screwing with the participants.
Hey, Steve, is the village open for business at all yet, or?
Not yet, that's it, not yet. We're gonna reevaluate that once this executive order expires on the 27th of the month.
Okay.
Your phone? No.
I'm gonna call
Do you
They
need
don't
something?
give me a ticket for the new car I bought that I can't get a sticker for.
Oh, you can do that, drop it off.
Oh,
There's the
man
red
locked
box.
out front?
Yeah, yeah. You drop it in the red box and they'll take care of it for you.
Mr. President, that clock is fast about 2 minutes, about a minute.
Oh, okay,
So I can start recording whenever you want.
okay. Give it a couple of minutes. I don't know, I'm gonna have to go back to my, it's been so long since we had an audience.
it.
Re-
Oh,
She can be on that. She's running that. Yeah, they could do it. But we
I'm
need
trying
to.
to figure out where the sound is coming from, but he doesn't have a microphone plugged in.
You must have done it. It's fine.
What time is it?
7:30.
Go to the village
Third.
front page, there's a link for public comments. That page has it embedded on it.
Oh,
You can
okay.
just hit play and it'll play the,
Yeah, I didn't realize you wouldn't be able to, it's not easy, they tech savvy to from the.
Okay, John, I think we're ready. Okay, John, we're ready to go live.
your live recording.
Okay, we still got meeting resume at 7:30 showing. Could I see my?
Oh, that's
My
not.
board.
That's what I see. So,
Okay. All right, at 7:30, July 20th, 2020. I've determined that an in-person meeting is not practical or prudent under the current COVID-19 pandemic. And according to the executive order of the state of Illinois, this meeting can be conducted in person and via remote access. We will verify the attendance of the board through a roll call. Those located in physical presence of the village hall is myself, village president, Stephen Pickett, and the village clerk, Anthony Mills. All other members of the board are reporting via remote. Okay, Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, roll call, please.
Mr. Prano,
Present.
Mr. Datley,
Here.
Mr. Nimitz,
Here.
Mr. Zamba, Mr. Merkel, Mr. Harney.
Here.
You have a quorum, Mr. President.
Okay, we have a quorum. 4 of them are in attendance by remote, and myself is present at Village Hall. Absent is trustee Merkel and Zamba. Okay, minutes. Do we have a motion to approve the minutes of July 6, 2020?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Diatley, seconded by Harney to approve the minutes of July 6, 2020. Any corrections? There being no corrections, roll call, please.
Mr. Prano,
Aye.
Mr. Datley,
Aye.
Mr. Nimitz,
Aye.
Mr. Harney.
Aye.
4 voting ayes and no voting nays, the motion passes. Minutes are approved. Okay, the president's report, only one quick little item this evening to report, and that is last week I received the resignation from Mike Tennis from our finance committee. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank Mr. Tennis for his service to the village. He has served this village for the better part of 30 some odd years as a trustee and as a member of our finance committee. His attendance, his participation, and his counsel will be missed. So with that, thank you, Mike, and best wishes in your future endeavors. That's it for the president's report. Clerk's report?
No report tonight.
All right, thank you, Anthony. Planning and Zoning Commission. If you all recall, a couple of weeks ago, we had a public hearing with P&Z, and they've had time to put together finding of facts, and Mr. Fuqua is here as chair of the P&Z to make his report.
Over here, good?
Yeah, that's good.
According to the agenda, the first part of the agenda, first part of the report is the recommendation regarding zoning text amendment to create a special use in B2 Village Business District for commercial kennel. That's backwards from what I was going to do, so that's fine, I can handle it.
Okay.
A petition, well, what we've done is, we had a public hearing, and there was nobody present at the hearing to make comment about that. I did have one piece of information that came in on an email, but they were concerned about lighting. In this, the finding of fact for the zoning amendment to the commercial kennel, a petition for text amendment to the village zoning regulations of the village, section 8-5-13B, to create a special use in the B2 business district in the village for the commercial kennel, and a further to amend the definition of the term kennel in the village zoning regulations. And you see the petition itself, and was filed with the village clerk. We discussed this information regarding the change in the zoning regulation, and the trustees or the board recommended to send to the trustees excuse me, like I said, I just started the wrong side. To send for the regulations and those amend the zoning regulations in section 8-5-13B, as I just read. Vote was taken by the board or by the committee, and it was passed on a vote of 4-1 to have the trustees approve that recommendation. Do you want me to do the other one right away?
Might as well.
Okay, I can do
Both
that.
up, and then we can.
And you can discuss both of them.
Mhm.
The other one was a report and recommendation regarding the petition for zoning amendment to allow special use for commercial kennel in B2 Village Business District. The public hearing also included the petition for a proposed all pets wellness center. And this was a commercial kennel proposed at the corner of Illinois 72 and Locust Street. The land is under the unified control of the present owner, Midway Auto House Groups Incorporated. Applicant has contracted to lease the land from the owner contingent upon allowing of the special use, and the owner has consented to these applications. The land in question is currently improved with a 2-story brick building together with a parking area, stormwater detention area, and this area is depicted as business in the updated comprehensive plan. The presentation for this whole process of the, of a pet wellness center was made by Mary Ann Minnick, and you're here today, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm backwards from what I was going to do, so I'm good. We questioned and we discussed the All Pets Wellness Center proposal to use the property that's there at the present for a variety of animal-related uses. In addition to the proposed special use for commercial kennel for daycare and boarding of animals and an outside animal play area, including a veterinarian clinic, an animal rehabilitation facility, an animal training facility, an animal grooming facility, a retail store and internet cafe area for its customers, and business offices and conference rooms. Such additional uses are permitted in the B2 business district. Planning and zoning considered the many aspects of the proposed establishment, asked many questions, and found the proposal generally acceptable. Planning and zoning recommended that the Board of Trustees ought to consider conditions governing the hours of operation, hours of use of the outdoor play area, parking requirements for the site, water usage and wastewater discharge from the site, the forbidding of breeding of or raising of animals on the site, and any other conditions which might be applicable to such special uses for the better operation of commercial kennel on the premises. A motion was made to recommend to the trustees to allow that All Pets Wellness Center special use for commercial kennel in a business district be approved. The commission voted 4-1 to allow this proposal. So we do recommend that we have that built, and we do recommend that the trustees approve it. And I got any questions I got, and Mary Ann is here if we need to ask her questions also.
All right. Okay, then we can go, what I need from the board is a motion and a second on the recommendation from the P&Z on the first item, which is the zoning text amendment to create a special use in B2 district for a commercial kennel.
I move that we approve the recommendation from P&Z to amend and create a special use in B2 Village Business District for a commercial kennel.
Second.
It's been moved by trustee Perino and seconded by trustee Diatley to approve the recommendation from the P&Z regarding the zoning text amendment to create a special use in the B2 Village for commercial kennel. Any further comments, questions, or discussion, gentlemen? Okay, you understand this motion right now is all we're doing. We did not allow commercial kennels in our business B2 district. This motion and this amendment is making that use allowable in the B2 district.
Correct.
Okay?
Correct.
All right. If there's no further comments or question on this motion, I'll call for a roll call, please.
Mr. Hardy,
Aye.
Mr. Perino,
Aye.
Mr. Nimitz,
Aye.
Mr. Datley.
Aye.
So carries. 4 votes, no negatives. We've got a motion to approve. Well, actually, it's a motion to send to Mr. Schuster to draft up the ordinance for that change. Okay, the next item from the P&Z was their report and recommendation to allow special use for the commercial kennel within the B2 district of the village of Sleepy Hollow. Now, this is the one where we've been asked to consider any restrictions, any, what do you want to call them?
Conditions.
Following the ordinances that are really on the books already.
Right, but there was a couple others that we might be concerned with. The raising and breeding of animals on site was one issue that was brought up. Do we want to allow them to be a breeder as well as a kennel? That was not an idea that I don't think anyone was wanting to do. There was a couple of other items in there that we mentioned. I know one of the things we need to be concerned about is the outdoor kennel, cleaning of it, and any of the wastewater from that is going to have to go through some type of a treatment. It can't be just flushed right into our open swales, because that's going to be what was the word I'm trying to think of? It wouldn't be appropriate for our neighbors to contend with that. Anything else you guys can think of?
Hours of operation?
There's a list that is included in your packet, gentlemen. You will see that All Pets Wellness responded to a number of them. In their response, they highlighted theirs in blue. We've got hours of operation, veterinary hospital, the doggy daycare, the grooming, the training, the pet boutique, the veterinarian hospital, emergency services, and the boarding.
President Pickett,
Yes.
question, should we vote on a motion first and then discuss, or should we discuss?
Well, let's have the motion, then we do the discussion, Anthony.
Okay, so I move that on the second article, which would be recommend regarding petition for zoning amendment to allow special use for commercial kennel in B2 Village Business District at 101 West Main Street, and it's under All Pets Wellness Center.
Second.
Moved by Moreno, seconded by Diatley. Okay, any comments, questions, discussion, gentlemen?
So I'll start just a couple things. I actually listened in that evening to the zoning board, and I think the petitioner did a good job in explaining everything. I know Mrs. Detmer was also there, and there were some building issues that she brought up, which I'm assuming as this moves forward in the process, the building department would also be involved in approving certain things. Is that correct?
All building code requirements are going to have to be followed.
Okay. Second question I have is in the training on the hours of operation, on the document I'm looking at, and perhaps maybe a typo, but it does say training 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. and it has a double asterisk. It mentions training days and hours will vary depending upon need. Is training only from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. or is it 7 a.m. to 10 p.m.?
The training, our trainer will, if we're using the same space for the daycare, we can do 7, you know what, it was a typo.
Okay.
Sorry.
All right, so the training, you're talking 7 a.m. to 10 p.m.?
Right, but what will happen is it won't be that entire, like, it won't be from, constantly from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. It will depend on the animals that we have in-house that are going to be training, that are doing board and train, and then anyone who is coming in from the outside to bring their dog in for training for a particular class.
Would the training also be outside?
If for obedience, it could be inside, but within our space.
I'd like to make a recommendation that the training hours from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. change to 7 p.m. or determine that after 7 PM, any training must take place inside.
Inside, okay, that's fine.
Okay, so you want training from, to be restricted to inside after 7 PM?
Yes.
You define training. What are we talking about? Just basic obedience or what? And
General
Anthony,
obedience, there are other types of things that we can do, with the dogs. There's something called, nose work. I don't know if you've ever heard of that. It's basically teaching a dog to do scent work. So we often do go outside in order to do that, but that is like one dog at a time does, searches for a scent. So, if we were to do that, it would be basically one animal at a time doing a search. But, pretty much, we're not looking at agility. We're not looking to do that kind of thing. That's not one of the things that we're looking to do.
I raised the question, I'm also a dog owner. I'm just raising the question that I don't prefer having dogs outside of the building except to go potty and obviously, to be taken out. But as far as outside training or commands or direction, I would like that to end at 7 PM outside. That was the reason for my question.
is that because of the noise factor, Anthony?
Yeah, yes.
Okay.
Well, and I would just, and I'm looking here as you were talking there, I was looking at because we went through a great deal of discussion about a noise ordinance a while ago, and we set daytime as 8 AM to 10 PM and nighttime from 10 to 8. So it just seems like we should be consistent with all our businesses and the and residents across the board. So I would have no objection to go the other way, to go to 8 AM to 10 PM just to be consistent. And it looks like, from what I'm reading, the maximum noise level actually a dog's bark does not exceed the nighttime noise level in a commercial district.
The reason I'm bringing it up, Trustee Nemec, is that this is a special use and we're establishing special conditions for this location.
Right, but I'm just saying,
I'm not suggesting that we change ordinance, noise ordinance throughout the village, but in this particular situation, I don't think that, I'm not thinking the dog's gonna bark a lot, but I don't think they should be out after 7 PM.
I just think we should be consistent across our ordinances and, not add additional regulations, so.
No, I disagree.
What we're here for this evening, let's see what we can come up. Anything else?
Are you concerned that they're out by themselves? Because they would be out with their owners.
No, I'm just concerned that they're outside. I know that's Locust and Main Street. It's heavily trafficked road. I understand all of that. But, there are residents that live behind the building. And I just don't want to have dogs out past 7 AM excessively barking if they're being trained. The owner giving commands, things of that nature is my concern. I know you also mentioned on here that you have not to exceed 100 animals boarded on the premises at any one time. Realistically, if there were 100 animals being boarded, and the percent of dogs who need to go potty out of 100 is probably pretty high, in the evenings. So again, I'm not restricting that, but I do believe that there's. I just don't want to have it being a barking frenzy on that corner.
Correct. No, to the 100, the 100 refers to the total number of animals that would be in the facility. And that includes any that are hospitalized or coming to see the veterinarian. Conceivably, if we have, we could have a number, in ICU that are spending some time with us. So I included those numbers in that 100.
Well, I certainly don't hope we have a lot of animals that are sick. Please understand what I'm saying. The fact that there will be, and I'll just refer to dogs. That's primarily, I think, the type of animals that would be here. I think it's a great opportunity. I'm just asking for some guidance and some recommendations here based on what I'm afraid of, come the winter time and, it gets dark at 4:30 in the afternoon and you have, out of the 100 dogs, you have 25 of them that are outside at 9 o'clock at night, barking up the wall. That's not going to be very good.
Well, as far as the winter time goes, I mean, if it's not comfortable for the dogs and the owners to be outside, we wouldn't be outside anyway. The only time that we would be outside doing any kind of training would be when the weather is nice. The animals and the classes themselves are generally limited to a small number of people. And I'm not sure if you've taken your animal for any kind of a training class? Have you participated?
With a previous animal, it was during the day at PetSmart, in the morning on a Saturday. It was never in the evenings.
Okay, yeah, this is not PetSmart.
No, I understand that, but instead of us discussing this, you guys know my position. Let's move on.
Is there anything you'd like us to reconsider the hours from 7 to 10 to 7 to 7?
Hey, Steve,
on the training.
Right.
quick question. I don't know if this ever come up before on a special use. If whatever time, if we went to 7 p.m. or 10 p.m. or whatever is voted and approved, how hard is that to change in the future?
On the special use?
Yeah.
You'd be
I mean,
back.
if we allow 10 o'clock now and it wasn't a problem, would we be able to restrict in the future or vice versa?
Back to this type of situation again, we'd have to have a petition, we'd be public hearing, and we'd be back.
So even to change the hours in the special use, we'd have to.
I believe so. Anytime we set up by ordinance special uses, we want to vary him, we're going to be back at the text amendment again.
Okay.
How much of a problem is it to change the time training at night as proposed by Trustee Perano? Is that a problem or not?
Does that present a problem to All Pets Wellness if we went from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. instead of 7 to 10?
For outside.
I with all due respect, we don't plan on having animals that are making a lot of noise and.
I know,
it
the
is
question
outdoors.
is this going to affect your
I mean,
operation?
we will, whatever you guys decide, we will work within those parameters.
Okay,
I just,
Okay.
What are we referring to? Referring to just
Training.
training?
Just training.
Just the training,
the
okay.
training portion, they've got.
So no training after
training
7.
outdoors.
Right, outdoors, right.
I mean, if it's not a big problem, I haven't heard that it's going to be a big problem.
No, it doesn't seem to
No,
be.
doesn't seem to be, no.
Okay. Out of curiosity,
Anything else, gentlemen, you want to consider?
Mr. Harney had a question, and I have another question. Go ahead, Ed.
just while we're talking about noise, and that seems to be a major concern here, you said the fence is going to be lined with some sort of noise suppression. Out of curiosity, what is that?
Do you have the information on that? This is Tom. He's going to be running our daycare section. There are noise absorbing materials that we can put on the inside and as well as anything that we're going to have in the space will also help to absorb the noise, any kind of noise that's going to be there. But there's a particular product that they were looking at in order to put that in there.
Okay.
So the outdoor training area is just meant to be like a one-on-one with a student, a dog, and the trainer. It's not meant to be 20 dogs running around having playtime.
No, it would be, it's small classes of, maybe 5 or 10 to tops. But what I'm thinking of as far as the outdoor nose work training, easily we could keep one or two dogs outside at a time and everybody else stay inside when we rotate, because the training is done one-on-one.
Right. Well, and that's what I was reading. I was almost thinking about doing some nose work with my dog, and there was a place, I believe, in McHenry that does it. I believe that they only allow one dog in the area at a time, and all the other dogs are basically sequestered in another room so that they're not distracting or smelling or seeing what's going on. So
And is that after 7 PM at night, Joe?
I believe so. I think they go until,
Okay.
let me take a look. They do it in schools and other buildings and places, so they meet up. So I think it's,
The other question I have is about lights under section number 5. No new light poles should be erected and no new exterior light fixtures shall be added to the subject property. And the answer was that All Pets Wellness Center will not need any additional parking lights. We will, however, need to light the outdoor fenced-in daycare play area. So if that, and I understand that faces, the old Target parking lot. And again, it faces away from the shopping center to the other side of the building. If you needed to light the area, we do have illumination codes about distance that lights can project. Would you expect that the lights in that area would be on 24 overnight for the dark,
No, because even for our boarding clients, they would go to bed at a certain time. And once it's bedtime, then we could turn the lights out.
Okay.
And those lights too, they would be obviously focused inwards toward the play area.
Thank you.
We'll go, okay, for the question about the particular item or the particular sound barrier, it's something called QBO blankets.
Get that, Ed?
Yep.
Okay.
Yes, I've worked with some of the sound absorbing materials before, and the materials you mentioned I have heard of. It's also, there's different acoustical panels you can use as well, but
Okay, and we're open to whatever
Right.
other items.
yeah, and I have heard of that, and I have heard good things about it. So I would be satisfied with that answer as well.
so Anthony,
Yes, sir.
to answer your question, they do agility, or they do obedience till 9:50. They do agility until 9:20, and they do nose work until 8:50 PM at night. So
And where is this location?
Northwest Obedience Club Inc.
At what town?
Woodstock,
No, that-
Crystal Lake. I'm sorry.
Then I suggest the residents of Sleepy Hollow want to have to train their dog after 7 PM at night, go to Crystal Lake.
Okay, thank you, Anthony.
You're welcome.
Anything else, gentlemen? What about breeding? You gonna allow breeding in this location?
I would not like to allow breeding at this location, but I believe during the zoning meeting, they decided they would not be doing
No,
that.
Anthony, no. Restrictions and special use were punted to the board.
Okay, then I would,
That's why we're going through this. If there's anything you're concerned about, now's the time to bring it up.
okay, then I would not like to have any breeding on site.
What's the consensus of the rest of the group?
I would ask about breeding because since this is a specialty wellness center, I would assume they may get into artificial insemination. Is that correct?
Possibly, but not generally. No, that wasn't our plan.
Okay, didn't know since it was specialty, so that's why I wanted to double check.
Yeah, no, no, that's it.
Yeah, I really don't see the need for breeding on the premises myself. I think that's something that's, be handled somewhere else. Joe, Ed?
Any other concerns? We've got noise. especially at night.
A general concern, you're leasing the property. How long is the lease for?
Lease is for 10 years with 2 5-year options.
10, okay.
No, I have no further questions. I appreciate the Planning and Zoning Commission's work and also the answers that were provided
Okay.
by All Pelts Wellness. It was very well done.
Okay, I've got, one thing we need to do first, gentlemen, is come to a consensus on the restriction of training. They wanted, their, plan is to go 7 to 10. Anthony would prefer to see 7 to 7. What's the consensus on this?
7 to 7.
Anthony, 7 to 7. Joe, you were opposed to it.
That's correct.
Steve?
I have no problem with 7 to 10.
Joe and Steve are 7 to 10. Ed?
And I may add before Ed
Yeah.
speaks that our noise ordinances are very specific to this, so we still have that to enforce
Okay.
if it got too noisy.
Ed?
With that in mind, that it could be restricted in the future, I'd be willing to try it from 7 to 10, but it wouldn't take much for me to change it in the future.
Okay.
Can I ask a question of the chief, since it's noise ordinance related?
What's the question, Anthony?
Chief Rivas, if there's a noise issue, my assumption is a resident on Sycamore would call and ask for a squad to go out. Is that how it would work?
Right.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
All right, thank you, chief.
Okay.
And as I said, let me just reiterate that that is commercial district there, right? It's
That
90
is
decibels
commercial district.
daytime, 80 decibels nighttime, which is,
Right.
and that I believe is,
You'll also
That's right, I remember.
realize too, yeah, we're in a little unusual position. We've got a commercial district abutting a residential district.
right.
So,
But I think we set those up with the idea of Salsa Street or the restaurant at the time having outdoor dining and music, so.
okay. So no need to restrict the hours on the training. The breeding, the consensus is that we do not want to see breeding or raising of animals on site. Is that correct?
Yes.
Correct.
Correct.
Yes.
Okay. Anything else we want to, any other restrictions on the special use we want to consider this evening? If not, with the motion we've got on the floor, we've got I'm going to take the restriction on breeding as a amendment to that motion.
I would amend my motion to include, to exclude breeding on the premises.
Okay, we have a second.
Second.
Okay, Moreno has made a motion to prohibit breeding on the premises. It was seconded by Diatley. Any further comments, questions, or discussion on the amendment? There not being any then, on the amendment, roll call, please.
Mr. Nimitz,
Aye.
Mr. Harney,
Aye.
Mr. Moreno,
Aye.
Mr. Diatley.
Aye.
There being no nays, the motion to prohibit breeding passes. Okay, on the main motion to authorize the special use permit for commercial kennel at 1001 West Main Street. Roll call, please.
Mr. Diatley,
Aye.
Mr. Moreno,
Aye.
Mr. Harney,
Aye.
Mr. Nimitz.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Motion passes with no nay votes. Okay. That wraps up the P and Z report for the evening. Anything else, Dirk?
Thank you.
That's it.
All right, thank you, Dirk.
I'm sorry, I was a little off because of the
I
whole
know.
thing, but that's fine.
That's all right, yeah.
We got it.
We got it. We got around there, so. I appreciate your time, your energy, and the work of the P and Z. And you folks will be hearing from us. The next step is for the ordinances to be drafted and then be presented to the board on the 3rd of August.
Thank you very much for your consideration.
Sure thing. Mhm. Okay, back to the agenda. The next item is the attorney's report. We don't have anything from the attorney this evening. The next item is the engineer's report. In your packet, you were provided with an update from the engineers. They have started their field investigation along Willow Lane. And they've asked if any of the board members has any information they know about Willow Lane to please share it with them. They're looking for all information they can possibly get. They've talked to just about all the residents along there, but if any of you guys happen to have a story that they haven't heard yet, please share it with them. Any questions concerning the engineer's report?
No, Steve, but I will add that they did find the, after digging around, he had the 1975 plans in his office. So that was good that we were able to dig those and find those. He said that was going to help him along quite a bit.
Good. It was 1975, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. Before our watch.
Just
Okay, on to finance. We've got a motion to approve the accounts payable for July 20th, 2020.
So moved.
Harney, second.
Moved by Diatley, seconded by Harney to approve the accounts payable for July 20th, 2020 in the amount of $111,316.80. Any additions or deletions? Comments, questions? There being none, roll call, please.
Mr. Moreno,
Nay.
I'm sorry, what was that again?
No.
Mr. Nimitz,
yes.
Mr. Harney,
Yes. Aye.
Mr. Dattley.
Aye.
And the village president votes aye, 4-1, motion so carries. Okay, public comments. I received none this evening.
Wow.
None.
Clerk received none. We move it to trustee reports, roads and parks. Ed?
Nothing new to report.
Thank you, Ed. Finance, we've got the approval of the appropriation ordinance for the fiscal year 21. We had the public hearing this evening. The appropriations ordinance is in your packet. It is number 2020-7. We have a motion to so pass.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Nemec, seconded by Diatley to approve ordinance 2020-7, an ordinance appropriating the funds for the all corporate purposes of the village of Sleepy Hollow for the fiscal year ending 30th of April, 2021. Any comments, questions, or discussion?
So I have a question from a definition perspective. On the last page of the document regarding the schedule of appropriations for fiscal year 2021, we have two columns. One says appropriations, and then the second column says 2020 appropriations. And at the very bottom of page 6, the last page, the dollar amounts for appropriation and 2020 appropriation are different. So are we approving the
21. Don has last year's appropriation alongside this year's for comparison.
So is the 2020 appropriation column last year and the appropriation, just the word appropriation, is the 2021 column?
Correct.
Correct.
Thank you for the clarification.
Okay, no further comments, questions, or discussion. Roll call, please.
Mr. Nimitz,
Aye.
Mr. Harney,
Aye.
Mr. Dattley,
Aye.
Mr. Moreno.
Aye.
So carries. Okay, water and sewer, Joe?
We had a major water leak on River Ridge. Irony is noted. Sunday morning started, the residents, so they heard it about 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning. Kyle got out there, I don't know when he was notified, was out there just after 7, was fixed. There was a significant loss of water. I don't know how much. I can get to you on that. And Wendy is still having questions about meters. We do have in our ordinances that meters can be removed and tested, and if found to be within 3% of accuracy, a fee will be charged to the resident as set by the village. We apparently have never done that. So Mark, when he's looking that up to see that we never passed that resolution, suggests that we do that. We also have data logging available to us now, which wasn't before. So Mark also looked at the sheet and there were several other fees that he thought needed to be updated. So I believe Steve is going to bring that to us at the next meeting. So it's just a heads up on that. That's all I have.
It?
Yep, unless there's questions.
Police and public safety, Steve?
I don't have anything per se. I wanted to yield to the chief here. We're looking at possibly selling the 2015 Ford Squad car. Chief, could you speak to that, please?
Absolutely. Thank you, Trustee Diatley. What I have included in the packet is an ordinance authorizing the sale of a 2015 Ford Explorer, which is our Squad number 9, and the VIN is included. And obviously, it has a depreciation schedule somewhere probably around 20%. And we have a verbal agreement with Dundee Ford for them to purchase the vehicle for the list price of $8,000, and also included in the packet is an odometer disclosure statement. So what we would be asking for the police department is for the board to approve the ordinance to go ahead and allow us to sell this vehicle to Dundee Ford.
I'd like to make a motion that we allow to sell the 2015 Ford Squad car to Dundee Ford for $8,000.
Second, Barney.
Okay, it'd be ordinance 2020-8.
Correct.
An ordinance approving the disposal of village property, i.e. a 2015 squad car with an offer of $8,000 from, was it Dundee Ford?
Yes, it was.
Okay. Any further comments, questions, or discussion? There being none, roll call, please.
Mr. Dattley,
Aye.
Mr. Harney,
Aye.
Mr. Nimitz,
Aye.
Mr. Moreno.
Aye.
4 ayes and no nays, motion so carries.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
That's it. Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Chief. On to buildings and environment. Trustee Merkel is absent this evening and left no report. Move on to building and zoning. Anthony.
Just an update. At a prior meeting, I mentioned I was going to meet with the chief and code enforcer, Mr. Fleck, to discuss the signs in the village. I received some information from the village trustee that basically says signs may not be regulated on the basis of content. In our code, we can only regulate signs based on the dimensions of the signs. So signs that we see on residential property, whether they're political or making any type of verbal statement or any other type of congratulation statement, are protected by freedom of speech, and they can exist for extended periods of time. The other thing, just to make reference, when I use the word political, I'm not referring to political parties, but just the broad sense of the word political, in that every person has the right to their own ideas, and that's that. So there isn't any further action, on that. I just wanted to update everybody so you had, it kind of closes the loop on what I had brought up prior. The other thing I'm actually going to bring up under new business because there's an issue on one of the properties on Stevens Court that I also received something from the code enforcer. I'd like to discuss that under new business. That's all I had for my regular report.
Okay, thank you, Anthony.
You're welcome.
Old business, no old business to come before the board. New business. So
I have a new business item. I received an email today from Jeff Fleck, the code enforcer, and just bear with me a moment. He did ask that the board think about this. So if I may read this, and I can forward the email to the village clerk for the record as well. It's a brief email. On July 15, 2020, at approximately 1400 hours, I had a telephone conversation with Linda Rizza, 503 Stevens Court, regarding flooding of her property. She alleges that this was due to the undeveloped adjacent property at 505 Stevens Court. She added that when the property at 505 Stevens Court is cut as is required by Sleepy Hollow Municipal Code 4-6-1A2, her property floods. She also told me that she discussed this issue with you and her understanding from your conversation that the property, 505 Stevens Court, should be left as is. I'm requesting direction from the board prior to a complaint regarding the length of the vegetation in the lot at 505 Stevens Court. And that's the email from Jeff Fleck, and I'll forward that to you, Tony Mills, for the record. If I just give a brief description, this particular property at 505 Stevens Court, 2 years ago was a wooded lot. The the resident at 503, Mrs. Rizza, owned that lot. She elected to sell the lot. The lot was purchased by an investor and currently has a real estate sign on the property to sell the lot and build a house on the lot. Short time after the lot was sold, and again, this was a wooded lot. We're all familiar with some of the wooded lots that still exist in Sleepy Hollow. There's actually a second lot on Stevens Court directly across from my own residence that is also wooded and owned by the neighboring resident. When the lot was sold, they came through and basically leveled the entire lot, took down every oak tree, took down everything. It was a bare piece of dirt. My expectation at that time was someone was going to build pretty quickly. That was approximately 2 years ago. At that time, the weeds and grass and vegetation began to grow, and at one point was probably 10 feet high. At that point, Mr. Fleck did find out who the owner of the property was and instructed them that they needed to have that property mowed to meet the code. And I have a copy here of it's under 4-6-1 property maintenance that had to be cut to meet the 7-inch requirement of grass. That was done one time about 1.5 years ago, and it was done a second time roughly 6-8 months ago. The second time it was done, that property flooded substantially. Not only the person who sold the lot, and she's at 503 Stevens Court, but the property at 544 Stevens Court, which is directly behind this lot that was cut down, also experienced substantial flooding of their property, of their land, of their yards, if you will. I'm not aware that they received water in their house, but the water did creep very close. So my question, my discussion here with the board is that this particular code that Mr. Fleck is citing talks about property maintenance 4-6-1, cutting and removal of grass, weeds, trees, and brushes. And he references number 2, which talks about nuisance greenery shall mean and include all grasses used for lawn or yard purposes which exceed 8 inches in height. And it talks about that. The one right before it says, it shall be unlawful for any owner, leasee, occupant, possessor, or person having any control over any parcel of real estate in a village to allow or maintain or to fail to destroy or remove any nuisance greenery on the property, including the area from the property line to the curb or edge of any adjacent roadway. So my question to the board is, I don't know why the new owner decided to level all the oak trees at the time they did, but because there is no physical building, house, structure on the lot, and the lot has now grown with tiger lilies and other, and I'm sure invasive plants and weeds, if you will, but it has allowed the lot to not flood because there's vegetation that is absorbing the water. If it was a residential building structure already on the property and the grass was high, I understand we have this ordinance with the 8 inches of grass. But we all know there are lots that are wooded, that are still wooded and owned by residents, and we do not enforce this type of a requirement in those lots. So what I'm asking the board to do is that we would notify code enforcer that in this case, there'd be an exemption to having to cut down the grasses and so forth due to the fact that there is no building on it, and that this is preventing the substantial flooding when it rains for the 2 houses at 503 and 544 Stevens Court. Any comments or questions?
Okay, Anthony, is this something you want us to put on the agenda for August 3rd?
Yes, I would. And then temporarily I can reply back to Mr. Fleck that the board is looking into this and no decisions at this time then.
Right. We cannot take any action this evening as it is not a action item on the agenda.
Okay.
However, that situation is going to be a little bit tricky. The developers had applied for a permit, a building permit. So that piece of property has started to be developed. Therefore, it falls within the ordinances.
When
So
they,
what you're asking is a variance?
yeah, I probably
Let's
have,
talk
yeah.
about this in the next couple of weeks. We'll put it on the agenda for the 3rd. But we're gonna have to do some homework on this.
No worries. What I could do is I would send out, I could send the email from Mr. Fleck to the board, and also a brief summary of my comments, if that is helpful to the board members.
Okay.
Yeah, that'd be helpful.
And then we can talk about it at the next meeting to begin some discussion. Thank you.
Okay. Any other new business to come before the board?
I move we adjourn.
Second?
Moved and seconded to adjourn. Roll call, please.
Mr. Hardy,
Aye.
Mr. Gadley,
Aye.
Mr. Prino,
Aye.
Mr. Nimitz. Mr. Nimitz.
He's muted.
Muted. Joe, you're
Sorry,
muted.
that's why Steve stepped on me. I apologize. Yes.
Okay. 4-0. Motion to adjourn passes. We will see you on August 3rd at 7:30. We are done.
Have a good night, gentlemen.
Good night,
Good night,
everybody.
gentlemen.